All right, hi everybody. Greg Warner here. Another couple minutes. We're going to wait for people to roll in. I wonder if go ahead and type some messages and say hello. Let me know where you're attending from. Would be terrific. All right, hi everybody. It's 2 p.m. here on the East Coast. I'm gonna actually give it maybe another minute or so at most to let a couple more people roll in. um, and then we'll get underway. All right. So, hi, Joseph from Dallas, Terry from Lexington, Virginia, that is, I should say, not too far away. All right. I'm going to give it another 30 seconds because I do see there's still people rolling in here. This isn't that huge of a webinar, but we didn't widely promote it. But I'm glad to see people rolling in. Thank you. Thank you for coming on board. All right. Well, it's about 2 minutes past, so I think we'll just get going. All right. There's only about 2 dozen people here, so if you have questions, feel free to type them into the question box. I will answer some of them. Some of them I might wait until the very end, because I'm the presenter and I guess I get to do that. So, but I don't mind if you do that in the middle, and I might be able to elaborate on certain topics. All right. So, welcome to Insider Presentation number one, I guess, for this year, where I'm going to help a lot of folks understand how to grow their consulting practice. This really was born out of the fact that I've been asked to go get a cup of coffee with so many people who ask me to give them free marketing advice, and I do, and I actually love it. It's a thrill for me to always think about marketing. And plus, when I started this agency before it became really a technology firm and a software company and a product company and all that, the business was really a consulting firm. I mean, it was an ad agency or a marketing agency, you should say. So I know what it's like to try and build up a business in that regard, and I'm kind of still doing it. I mean, I'm very much involved in the marketing here, and a lot of it revolves around my personal brand. So I know what you might be going through, and if you're not a consultant yet, but you're thinking about becoming one, I hope to give you a foundation that you can springboard from. All right. So with that, we're gonna jump in, and I'm gonna just tear it up here. So stay with me. Here's our agenda. Okay. Who am I? Why am I doing this? I think most of you probably know who I am if you got the message and signed up for this, but I'll go through that a little bit. I'm going to show you how to grow your practice. We're going to talk about how to smooth out the income peaks and valleys that most consultants experience, and that would be helped out by building a residual type of income stream. Then I'm going to give you some bonus items that don't really fall under those categories. And finally, I'm going to talk about how Market Smart can help you if you care to align with us. So the number 6 there, it could be for some of you something that you've seen before. For some of you on here that I can see I've talked to in the past, and you may want to jump at that point, because you know what we do and how we help folks like you. And then there's others who may just see it as kind of a product pitch, because I'll be showing you a deeper dive as to what our technology does and why so many nonprofits are jumping on board and why we're growing so fast. But if you're not interested in really at all in aligning with us or at least hearing how consultants benefit from that, then I get it. That's cool. You'll just want to jump at the end, and I'll warn you when I get into this part, so you can leave if you don't want to hear it. So okay, so I'm the founder and CEO of Market Smart. Also, the fundraising report card, which is a new product that we've just released out of beta. The marketing that you mostly see, besides what we do here at Market Smart and the report card, is probably along the lines of our blog, our reports and webinars, or on the LinkedIn group for major and planned gift marketers. So thank you if you've engaged with us in that fashion. And that's kind of our way to get in, and I'm going to show you how we use that as an example for your businesses. There's probably really too many logos. I'm putting a splattering of logos of organizations and people that I work with. One though in particular that I'm going to want to point out, and I'll point it out later, is APC, which is the Association of Philanthropic Counsel, which is well, they're our friends, and I'm a sponsor, but I highly recommend it because most people haven't even heard of the group, but it's a group of philanthropic uh, consultants, and they're very collaborative and very helpful, and they have meetings twice a year, and I encourage you to consider that. Also, we're a member of AFP, excuse me, and PPP, we work with the folks at the Nonprofit Research Collaborative, which is really primarily Melissa Brown. I'll be doing a webinar with Wild Woman Fundraising, I think tomorrow, Nonprofit Hub. And by the way, Joseph Cole, I believe you're on the line, and thank you very much for introducing me to those folks. And there's too many others, but more so are the consultants that we align ourselves with. I'm going to do a bunch of name dropping here, but there's Greg Lassonde and Melissa Brown. Dr. Russell James is a foremost researcher in plan giving, but he's not really a consultant. Jonathan Gadima, Michael Rosen, Phyllis Friedman, Kathy Swayze, Jeff Schreifels, Richard Perry. Richard and Jeff were formerly from the Domain Group, and now they're part of, they are Veritas Group. Kathy's with Impact, the folks at TrueSense, Target Analytics. The reason why, and I can't fit all of our friends up here, but I'm trying to give you an idea of the people who have aligned themselves with us already. And I'm never fond of the word partners. I like allies better, but these are some of our allies. And that's oh, and also these CRM firms are now becoming our allies because of the fundraising report card, which I'll talk about as part of this towards the end. Okay, so full disclosure, it's probably no secret already that well, of course, I'm going to say that we love consultants and we want to be your friend, but the real reason why we do this is not just so much as a public service, but in the end, 76%, at least right now, of Market Smart's revenue comes from people like you. They refer us. We don't compete with consultants. We work with them. We make them better, and we make nonprofits win at lower costs because of our relationship with consultants. It's a terrific three-legged stool, and so I want you to grow your business, because if I use the law of reciprocity correctly, then hopefully you'll feel that you want to help and align yourself with us in the end. So that's essentially why we're doing this. The three-legged stool kind of looks like this: is you've got the nonprofit, the consultant, and us. And the nonprofit, at least for our in our realm, wants to raise more major gifts and plan gifts through lead generation, and they want to uncover hidden bequests. They want to cultivate and steward folks so that those gifts happen, and that once they find out about the gifts, they stay in the will, for instance, and they keep giving. So we help nonprofits raise money more efficiently, and we know that consultants, they want to look good. They want to stay on the cutting edge. They want to leverage new technology and still be in charge, and they don't want anyone to steal their clients. So it works out to be a nice little three-legged stool, and that's why I'm doing this. So I hope you don't mind my full disclosure there, complete transparency. So with all that, let's jump in and let's talk about how to grow your practice. Okay. Whew. First step. And a lot of people don't want to do this first step because it requires thought. But the first step in creating a solid foundation for marketing your consulting practice is for you to develop your own case. It's not a case for support, although I'm sure many of you have told your clients that they need to create a case for support. Why would people give to them? You know, but it's the same but different, is that you've got to really analyze why someone should hire you. What's your niche? What are your features and benefits which equal your value proposition? And it really, try not to make it bland. Try to make it specific. So when it comes to features, as a for instance, you're going to want to look at your experience, your certifications, your advanced degrees, etc., and you're going to want to detail those. But people don't buy features; people buy benefits. So turn those features into, how are those features going to help the nonprofit that you might potentially be serving raise more money, or build a better board, or improve donor retention, grow major gifts, increase plan gifts, steward plan gifts. What is it that you can do that really nobody else can do? And if others can do it, why can you do it better? You've got to build this case, and really sit there with, take out like a blank sheet of paper and think long and hard in a nice quiet room or coffee shop about what this product is that you are offering. Once you understand that, and if you're already in business, you really got to go around and get some testimonials. So there's laws of influence. There's a great book called Influence, frankly, and it details the 6 laws of influence, and we'll talk about some of them here. One of them that's very powerful is called social proof, and that is best done by your past clients talking about how awesome you are, putting logos up of the organizations that you've helped in the past, using their names, dropping those names. Now, throughout this presentation, I'm going to show you what MarketSmart does, because we practice what we preach, and I guess I just think it's a good idea to show that we walk the talk. So on our website, and frankly, I encourage you to go on there and look at the testimonials area, especially the one on the left here with Phyllis Friedman, who is a consultant who's been working with us for quite some time, and she'll give you a testimonial of exactly what it's like to work with us. Now, once you see that, though, I want you to think about what does that mean for your business? And I'm sure most of you go to conferences and events just like I did, where at this particular event where I just called over some friends and said, "Hey, can I ask you some questions and let me videotape you?" And they were fine with that, thank goodness. And then we edited it a little bit, and bam, there we go. We got some nice little videos, and it wasn't all that hard to gather. So social proof is very important. If you don't have time or the energy or the know-how to do the videos, then you can simply ask people to give you a testimonial, and you could put it into like a little booklet, or even in a Word doc is fine. We put it into a booklet we call From Our Friends, Judge Us by the Company We Keep. And then each page has a different little quip here. And Jill nicely just said, well, that's easy. We got a $50,000 cash donation immediately. Bam. You know, she actually said a lot more than that, but we edited it down. People don't want to read a lot. They just want to see the highlights, and there you go. So that should be easy enough for you to gather. But it's powerful. It's very powerful to have that social influence. So I strongly encourage that you take the time after you get your case together to get your testimonials together. And of course, on our website, we've got more, and we pretty much put it throughout our marketing. It's not a bad thing to always include social influence everywhere. Okay. Next is producing case studies. People love case studies as long as they're short and punchy. So, and by the way, you know, you can get this whole deck when we're done, because it's basically just a whole bunch of checklists. So just reach out to us if you want that deck. But your case study, okay, this is a one-pager. It's just one side of one page. It's very punchy, you know. So who's this organization? What's the quote? You know, who's it from? Build credibility there, social influence. What was the challenge? What was the solution? And what are the results? Bing, bang, boom. Make it punchy. Nobody wants to read 20 pages about what you did. They just want the highlights. So give it to them. And once you get one figured out and you feel comfortable with it, then you could show it to some folks and say, hey, can I do this with your organization too? And then you get another, and then another. Okay. So this way, you're starting to build up a case study database, so to speak, so that if you're pitching a college, then you have one. If you're pitching a human rights organization, then you have it. And they're not that hard to put together once you get the construct. Okay, next, after you've sort of got that foundation done, and this could happen in any order, and most of you probably have a database, but let's face it, your clients have databases, you've got to have a database. What many people don't think about, though, is that you should probably go into LinkedIn and download and export all of your contacts and put them into your database. And also, if you have something like Gmail or whatever your email program is, you can export those contacts, because I know you come across a lot of people that either invite you to connect or that you email throughout your day-to-day activities, and but they're not really in your database. You know, they're kind of in that email or that LinkedIn construct, but they really need to go into your marketing database in one place. So I encourage you to export your contacts from LinkedIn and your email so that you can get them into one place. Okay. Now, I know some folks that just use Excel, you know, and it's kind of old school, but you can use it. I recommend buying a CRM, or even using, you know, if you have just a couple hundred contacts, you could get HighRise for free. And it's really simple, really straightforward. If you like the interconnectivity with LinkedIn and you prefer that, you could go with something like Nimble. And Insightly is good as well, and that's free as long as it's under 2 users. So you might want to check that out. Literally, there's hundreds of these out there, so you probably just want to check them out and look at their videos online and kind of take the plunge. Moving on, you want to establish a social media presence. Now, it's hard to do every uh, type of social media. Okay, I personally focus heavily on LinkedIn. It's very comfortable to me. You should think about where you're comfortable. If you're comfortable in doing a vlog, like a video blog, then YouTube might be your world. You know, if you like Twitter, use Twitter. Use the ones that are most comfortable, but also the ones where your potential clients, what are their watering holes? You know, I'm not sure that Google Plus will really work in that regard. But if you find that it does, and your clan is at that watering hole, then by all means use it. But whatever you do on all or any of those channels, you got to make sure that your profile is completely filled out and you have a good picture. So I've taken great care to take a pic. Well, the picture is actually a joke. If you all want the backstory, someone was joking with me that they thought that I was the Steve Jobs of the fundraising world, and guess what? They're right. So as a joke, I got my picture taken as in a Steve Jobs pose. So now every time you look at that, you can giggle, knowing that that's the reason why it looks that way. And yeah, you gotta get at least a decent picture that looks somewhat professional, and by the measures of the target audience that you're going after, that you want to reflect your brand. So if your style is to be laid back and not wear a tie, then go for it. And I'm a software technology guy, so I think that's okay. If you're interested in capital campaigns or plan giving, or you're an attorney and you think it's more appropriate to have a tie, make sure to have a tie. But just get your whole get the whole profile filled out. Be as thorough as you can. Be as give people some meat to chew on in that regard. Okay, build that social media presence. That is your brand. And next is get a website or a landing page. And these are not all that hard to develop these days. And if you really hate that aspect of it, you can always hire someone on a site. There's a site, it used to be called Elance, now it's called Upwork, UPWORK, where you can hire pretty much anybody to do just about anything. And there's tons and tons of people, mostly all around the country or in other countries like the Philippines and Romania. And I mean, gosh, you can get a website developed for just a couple $100. So I recommend that you do that. I personally strongly recommend that you do it on a WordPress site, because they're very easy for you to populate the text and the pictures on your own once they hand it off to you. And plus, it's like the most popular platform in the world, and it's open source. So no one individual kind of controls it. And that's what we use here at MarketSmart, and our site is on WordPress, and we just love it. If you think you're going to get into a little bit more sophisticated email marketing and drip email marketing, you might want to consider Entreport or Infusionsoft. And if you go on their websites, or if you go to YouTube, you can see little videos about what they do and why that's different. It's definitely a step up compared to just having a basic WordPress site. But the basic idea here is that people, when they hear about you, which is mostly going to be from referrals, or you're going to be speaking at a conference or something, they're going to look you up. They're going to look you up on social media, and they're going to look you up online. And you need to have your presence developed properly, and it needs to look professional. It needs to speak to what your case is, showing the features and benefits and the value that you provide. Include your testimonials, case studies, and make sure that it has some way that people can contact you and opt in to receive email from you. And that's why you need the database. And when you get your website set up, you're probably going to want to make sure that it syncs so that when people fill out a form, their contact information, like if they request to contact you or something, or to download a report or something, that data needs to go directly into your database, okay? And finally, on this list for the foundation, you're going to want to invest in an email tool, which is very, very inexpensive these days. There's probably 100 different kinds of these too, but some of the most popular ones are either MailChimp or Emma. And they're very, very easy to use. And that's for blasting out hundreds of emails if you end up with that many people on your list. Especially if you end up creating a blog and you're capturing a lot of names, you're going to want that pre-programmed so that it goes out automatically and notifies people when you have a new blog post. Okay, so that's your foundation. Next, I want to talk about your marketing funnel, which is really something that will help you understand the consideration process for clients who are considering buying from you. So this is the most simple marketing funnel there is. This AIDA acronym was created like 100 years ago, maybe more, when newspapers really were getting into the advertising business, and the ad guys back then drinking stiff martinis. I don't know, maybe I'm assuming it was mostly guys back then, were trying to figure out how to influence people, and they came up with this idea of that first you want to generate awareness, you want to get people interested in the product or service, build desire, and then finally get them to take action. So that's what people are going to go through in your in considering your services. And one mistake that people make is that they try and move people from awareness all the way to action too quickly, and that's just not going to happen. It's just not the case. It's not how people make decisions. So that's why you need to look at your foundation and recognize where are certain marketing activities and certain tools going to affect different parts of the consideration process. So social media is usually up there in the awareness stage, and speaking or networking events is going to help you make people more aware of the services that you offer. When you've got people on your list and they've already shown interest and you want to move them to build desire, that's when you're going to want to drip emails on them with Entreport or Infusionsoft or MailChimp, and provide them with case studies, testimonials, things of that sort. And then finally, you're going to want them to take action, meaning you're going to want to get a face-to-face meeting, do a discovery with them, a needs analysis, sign a contract. Okay, so different media are, I mean, look, a contract being sent one-to-one via email using Word is much different than social media, and you certainly wouldn't use Word to build awareness. The channel doesn't work. The most powerful way to build your business, though, is going to come from referrals, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, now you have your foundation. We understand that people won't move straight through the funnel quickly. You have to recognize that and use marketing and channels and tools in different ways depending on where people are, at what stage they are in the consideration process. But an overarching theme for marketing these days is to use the law of reciprocity. This is another one in those 6 laws of influence. The other one I mentioned earlier was social proof. This one, the law of reciprocity, cannot be overlooked whatsoever. What this means is that if you give to people without any pretense that you expect anything in return, they will give back to you in a greater amount than you would ever give in the first place. So the way we use this in fundraising, just as one example, is these probably too often used address labels. So we give someone a sheet of address labels. Maybe it costs a nickel to make this, and you send it out, and that costs a little bit more. But then they send you $50 or $100, or geez, there's well, this is probably too small to see, but you could give 500. So somebody's going to get something that costs less than a nickel, and then they're going to give $500. Well, that's the law of reciprocity in action right there. So what I want you to do is what you do as a fundraiser, but I want you to use it to your advantage as a consultant, and give to others until it hurts. Give with no expectations, and not to sound so much with trickery here, but you want to almost give to the point so that they feel guilty about what's about the exchange. You want them to feel that they kind of owe you. Okay, it's not wrong for you to feel that way. And so one of the ways the Market Smart does this is we offer, for instance, the Major Gift Motivator, which people sign up for. I don't know, we've got a few thousand people who've signed up, and we get a bunch each week that sign up for the Major Gift motivational quote of the day. It's a once a week email every Tuesday. So, you sign up, it doesn't cost anything, and we send it out. So it's real simple little thing. You're going to have to think about what you can give for your business. Some others what I strongly recommend is that you create a blog. Share your thoughts and ideas. If you can go further and actually create a report or conduct a webinar for free, that's very beneficial, and people like that. I created the LinkedIn group, the Major and Planned Gift Marketers, which sometimes can be a real nag of managing it, but especially if I have to tell people to pipe down and not be rude to one another, then that can be kind of a headache. But giving people do write me and tell me they appreciate all these things. And then there's the fundraising report card, which I'll show you later, but excuse me, I developed that as a free item. Let's see, we created a calculator, and so on and so forth. So for you will probably want to blog. If you don't feel like if you feel like a blog is a little bit too complex for you and you don't have a website up yet, don't worry, because you can write articles just on LinkedIn. Okay? When you have a blog, you should probably write the articles on the blog and then kind of copy and paste them onto LinkedIn and share them with your LinkedIn connections. So that's pretty easy. I don't know if you've ever clicked on this button, but you just click the button there, and then a page pops up, and you just fill it in with a picture and a few words, and boom, there's your article, and you click publish, and away it goes. People will share it, people will like it, people will engage with you, they'll post comments, and then as you engage with others and they see your expertise and they see how smart you are, then that will generate leads and referrals for you. Another great way is to create reports, which might sound daunting, but I strongly encourage that if you're going to create any one report, first of all, instead of thinking about creating many reports, just think about the one thing that you know better than anyone. If there's a niche, and you should refer to your case to determine what that is. If there's that one thing that you are best at, then you should write about that in your report. Don't go crazy with doing what everybody else is doing. Try and figure out what your unique proposition is and value point. I just made this up off the top of my head, and this is not something I know about, but okay, here's a report: 17 awful mistakes every nonprofit board makes and how to avoid them. something like that. I mean, if your specialty is working with nonprofit boards, then maybe this will be a good headline that will attract people and will help you to show your stuff. Now, one person who does this especially well, I think, is Claire Axelrad, and she's got this site called Clarification. So I like this report that she did. It's all about thank you calls and scripts. What a great offer. It's free, you know? So she knows what she's doing when it comes to this kind of content marketing. And I don't recommend that you go crazy with all of this marketing stuff and create 50 different reports or 10 different reports. Just, you know, try and zero in on what's the one thing that you're really, really good at and where you can shine and where you can be different, and focus on that. All right. So now, in the spirit of giving, you're going to want to share everything that you do on social media. Okay, it's so cheap and so inexpensive, but you need to make sure that in addition to sharing things like your reports and whatnot, you need to just look around at conversations that are happening online. And when people ask, especially like in LinkedIn groups, if people ask questions, go ahead, be nice, answer their questions. You know, don't be afraid. Maybe check your stuff twice. You know, look for errors and punctuation before you hit to post it. You want to be nice to everybody. Every once in a while, somebody is going to tell you that your suggestion is wrong. And they might not be all that nice about it, but no matter what happens, the world is watching. This is a public space, so you want to be nice and professional back, no matter what they say and how mean spirited they might be. You always want to take the higher road. Now, along those lines, you also don't want to be creepy by saying, things online that don't make any sense, rambling on about things, or having truncated sentences, fragments, and people don't understand. They're going to think that you had one too much to drink, and then you went online and started posting. Don't be weird. Be nice. I know this sounds like common sense, but I see one too many arguments online and people that I have to put into the penalty box on my LinkedIn group because they're just acting in a weird way or nasty. So another thing is, if you don't want to actually engage that far and comment in discussions, you could just like what other people have to say. That's a good way to build awareness for you. When you like people's comments, they'll wonder who you are. They'll look at your profile. They may go further if your profile is filled out properly and explains your value proposition. Then they'll click to go to your website, and then they might sign up for something or download your report. They do it every day on my site. We get thousands of downloads of our report. It takes time to build, but if you're going to be out there and you want to grow your business, you've got to have this as your backdrop. So the key is that if that's your backdrop, you want to drive people back there. Another way to do that, besides having people sort of organically find you and click around and decide that they're going to investigate you, is to actually, when you comment on other people's blogs or on discussions, if your report or your content on your blog adds to the conversation, then you can add your comment in the blog and on LinkedIn in the discussion, and then say, and by the way, I happen to have a free report that delves into this topic even more. And here's the link to it if you care to download it. So the idea is to give to people online, but then also offer your content as a way that they can take a step even further to better themselves. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a couple books that fit in these pillars here, and the one that aligns with this one is to just be nice to people. So if you haven't read How to Win Friends and Influence People, I recommend it. Use the same philosophy online that you would in face-to-face conversations. Next is in the spirit of giving is to go ahead and speak at events. You may have seen if you read my blog that I am not speaking at events anymore, but I've found that it really doesn't work for me. But I know that for most consultants, it's a really good way to generate business. So I'm going to recommend it highly for fundraising consultants. And if you've never done that before, or if you want to brush up on your skills, and especially if you like TED Talks, you might want to get this book on it's called Talk Like TED, which is a really good way to learn about public speaking and how to really punch up your presentations. And next in the giving atmosphere is to network with people. That is, for instance, when you are networking, you always want to go with a giving mentality, which is how can I help this person? If we're going to get a cup of coffee, you've got to go with the attitude of, okay, this is going to be an exchange, but you almost want to aim to give more than you receive. And as the law of reciprocity usually works, is it will come back around for you. So if you're really the type that likes networking and wants to brush up on that, I recommend this book, Never Eat Alone, which is one of the big bestsellers of recent times on the subject. So networking, speaking at events, engaging on social media, it's interesting. They're all related. It's just one of them is really pretty much only done online, but the etiquette is the same. All right, so gaining referrals, I mentioned earlier, is the best way to grow your business. It's at the bottom of the funnel. It's even past the bottom of that funnel that I showed you, and it's hard to get referrals in some respects. But once you start getting them, if you're in business a while, they soon never stop. But people wonder, well, how do you get referrals? Well, here's how you do it. It's going to sound like common sense. It is common sense, but you just want to be awesome. You got to do great work for people. You've got to get results for them. Do more than is expected. Don't nickel and dime people. If they have an argument about something, go ahead and make it right, and even go one step further and give them more. And sure, there's some people who won't appreciate it, but the times that you find people that do appreciate it, they'll refer you, and it's very worthwhile. And it's really not that much time to just go the extra mile. In the end, the key is that you've got to provide value. You don't want to provide deliverables. You want to provide value. Deliverables are, okay, so someone's supposed to come in and fix your garage. All right, that's great. But what if they fix your garage and they lube the chain that lifts the garage also, and that's just a bonus? Well, that was nice. They didn't have to do that, and they're providing extra value. It makes you more memorable and more likely for people to want to give back to you because you did something of value. Okay. All right. The other thing about referrals is too often uh, people give referrals, and unfortunately, then it's kind of hard for people to contact you. I was just looking online on LinkedIn to contact somebody that I hadn't talked to in a while, and I saw in his LinkedIn profile that he was working somewhere, but then his email, because you can get their contact information for their personal email if you're connected, was not the same email. It was from his former job from 2 jobs ago, not his current employer. So keep that updated. Make sure your photos on LinkedIn. Provide your phone number on your web page. Even if it's going to an answering service, if you don't want those kinds of calls coming to you, make it so that people can click to email you or email and info at kind of email that's under your email or comes to you. We have one, info@iMarketSmart. So make it easy for people to contact you. Don't drive people into a brick wall. Let them engage. Next is simply ask people for referrals. And the best time to ask for a referral is when somebody gets something from you and they're really happy and they say thank you. And maybe even go as far as to say, hey, is there that was really great what you did for me. Is there anything I could ever do for you? And you say, yes, there is. In fact, this is what I would like you to do for me, is give me a couple names of people that you think would benefit from what I just did for you. Who are they? What's their phone numbers? Would you send a group introduction, a personal introduction? And I'll give a shout out again to my friend Joseph, who did that for me. So I guess I owe you, Joseph. Law of reciprocity. um, Use a survey. Now, you could use for if you have just a couple of clients or a handful of clients or more than that, you might want to give them a way to give you feedback. And you could use SurveyMonkey, or there's other tools for this. SurveyMonkey is really easy to create a survey. And in after you get the feedback, then you're going to want to probe for other opportunities with that client. Perhaps there's other things that you could do for them and neither of you realized it. But then especially you're going to want to ask for those referrals. Okay. You're also going to want to look in LinkedIn to see who you're connected with. And you can just ask people that you know already. You could say, oh, Mary, I didn't know you knew Joel. So can you introduce me to him? And they will. You're going to want to enable sharing of your information, because people will, and this is what's at the bottom of our blog, is people can tweet it or they can share it on LinkedIn, because people will share it with their contacts, and then that will sort of refer your expertise. And finally, I recommend that you thank people. When we thank people, we send them a little package filled with goodies and maybe a MarketSmart pad or something like that. So I recommend going overboard in thanking. Don't worry about spending an extra 10, 20, or 50 bucks. It's really worth it, because think of how much it costs to actually find a new customer, a new client. So go ahead and thank people. I remember there's a guy, Roger Craver, who writes The Agitator, and a few years ago I just loved what he was doing with the Agitator blog, so I sent him a box, and now we're friends, and he's sent me referrals over the years, which is really terrific. And finally, you want to give referrals. Have that giving mentality. If you give referrals, people will want to give you referrals back. Okay, I'm going to speed it along here because this is, I apologize, I'm taking a little more time than I thought I was. The foot in the door. Okay, so some folks like the idea of a 1-hour consultation, or, ask the expert, or you could sell an audit or an upfront discovery, or just take on a really, really small project so that people can get a taste for what it's like to work with you. Now, if the prospect that you're thinking about doing this for, and maybe even discounting for, does not have deep pockets and there is not great potential for really much upside, I'm not sure I really, really encourage doing this much. You're going to want to think strategically. Don't do it just for the sake of doing it. Think strategically and determine if there's a potential for a long engagement that you should give up something in order to gain. Now, you'll notice that this is from Gail Perry, I think is her name, at Fired Up Fundraising. And on her website, she's got, apply for your free strategy session. So that's one way to go about it. Okay. So now we talked about growing the business, and now we're going to talk about some much shorter portions, and then we're going to go into what MarketSmart does. The problem with being a consultant is you end up having a lot of lumpy revenue. I like to call it peaks and valleys in your revenue. So some things that we do here at MarketSmart, and I've done since the beginning, and I keep trying to make it better, is that you've got to have strict payment terms, and you can't let people slip in that regard. And you need to ban what I call dormancy. And what that means is that very often a project will get started, and then for whatever reason, maybe someone leaves the organization, or board members want to put a hold on something, this, that, the other thing. The way we do it is that, look, if you're going to make this commitment, the project can't go dormant, but if it does, you're going to pay us anyway. And then if you want it to go dormant, that's fine. But then we'll get back to it later when you get your ducks in a row. But I know this sounds kind of like you got to have big chops to say that, but most people do not push back on this when you explain to them the reasoning behind it, and I just think it's something that's worth kind of pushing. We do it, and honestly, we don't really get pushback. All right. So recommend long-term project plans. I know one consultant that the first time he ever talks to anybody, he says, "Okay, we got to think of this in a 5-year plan," and he goes for those 5-year thought processes. So that he from the very beginning, he's kind of using an assumptive approach that the organization needs to think of him as a long-term partner. Now, they all might not go for that in the end, but he's starting out with that recommendation in mind. I mentioned this before about providing value and not deliverables, but I'm going to go further and say try to find ways to provide value and not time. This is very hard, and we at MarketSmart even have one client remaining that we still kind of count hours. It's not my favorite. Retainer contracts, subscriptions, if you will, are just better. They smooth out those income peaks and valleys. I know one consultant out in California who has this. It's like a lower price, but it's an all-you-can-eat kind of retainer. So he says, look, I know that I'm going to lose, and I'm going to work my butt off for you in the beginning because we're getting to know one another, and I'm going to lose because my cost is so low. But as time goes by, we're gonna get into a groove with one another, and I probably won't need to spend as much time with you, but I'll always be here when you need me. So that's just another way of doing it. It's all up to you about what you feel comfortable with. Oh, and you're going to want to really provide some kind of proof of value every month or every quarter, whether that's a quick report or quick stats or infographic or something, a little Excel that shows the value that they're getting, not the number of hours that they're buying. Focus on value, not hours and deliverables. And finally, to smooth out the income peaks and valleys, you can always kind of align yourself with us. All right, so now with income streams, there are some partners that will pay consultants for referrals and getting them clients. So at last look, I might be wrong on one or two of these, but I know that Donor Search, the wealth screening company, and Wealth Engine, CRM firms will pay sort of a tribute or a finder's fee. Excuse me. Crowdfunding platforms will do the same. So if you truly love those platforms, then go ahead and move forward with some kind of a residual income stream kind of arrangement. Now, another way to kind of smooth these out and get that income stream is to create something that you can sell that is ongoing. So productize maybe your expertise. And my friends at Veritas Group did that with the Major Gift Academy. Gail Perry does that. It's all over her website. She's got tons of things at Fired Up Fundraising. And I mentioned Gail recently, and you can get a bargain bundle, it says here, for $106. And selling your expertise can help provide for that kind of income stream. Now, as a bonus here, because I just tackled those three highlights, I want to mention that I think that client selection is very important, and that you should review your case, make sure you're doing the kind of work that you feel that you're really, really good at and that is in your niche, in your wheelhouse, and that feels right for you. Try not to overreach and do things, even if there's big dollar signs assigned to it. Try not to overreach and do things that A, you're not comfortable with, and B, that are really not in line with your core personal mission. Make sure there's a fit, and dare I say it, if you're having a bad experience, and or you're feeling like you might be falling short, and you're a fish out of water, and maybe if it means giving up revenue or giving back money that was promised in a con, you've got to part ways with clients that don't fit. It's just a train wreck waiting to happen, and you really need to move on. And your time would be better spent to find people and situations and opportunities that fit with where you can excel, rather than really trying to. You're only going to hurt yourself and your relationship and your personal brand by trying to keep it going when it's not really worthwhile. Another bonus is find a SCORE mentor. So SCORE is the Service Corps of Retired Executives, which is 16,000 retired CEOs around the US. And you'll want to find a mentor there. They're free. It's part of the US Small Business Administration. And I know it well because my company has won awards for them. Last year was Most Outstanding small business. So, of course, I love them. But I have found it just invaluable how much they'll give to you. They're just retired CEOs that are willing to help. So go on score.org. It's a nonprofit, and you can get yourself a mentor. Another bonus here is that there are websites and blogs for consultants. The best I've ever found is called Consulting Success at consultingsuccess.com. There's tons of information free there for people just like you, and you're gonna of course, they're going to try and sell you their coaching and their systems and all that kind of stuff. But they also have tons of free tools there. So don't be afraid. Go to that website and take advantage of that. I mentioned this earlier. You're going to want to join the Association of Philanthropic Counsel and AFP's affinity groups. There's always one in the bigger cities for consultants. I know this is the one in DC. They have brown bag lunches and whatnot. All right. So now that's really I wanted to get it done in an hour. So that's the end of that presentation. I see we have a couple of questions here. So I'm going to seek to answer them. And then for those of you who want to see behind the iron curtains, if you will, then I'll continue on to let you know how Market Smart can help you if you're interested. So first question I see here, bear with me. I'm going to click on these. What major networking events like annual conferences do I like to attend? Okay, bad question for Greg, which is me. Thanks, Joseph, for the question. But so I am, what would I call myself? Not an iconoclast. That's what Dr. James calls me. But I'm I'm a bit of a disruptor, and I'm actually not fond of going to networking events. I prefer to hide out behind my blog. And in fact, if you were at AFP's annual conference last year, you might have seen a message from me where I said, "Hey, are you going to be at AFP's international conference?" Well, I won't. but I'll be across the street at the bar. So we rented a room at the bar, and a lot of people came over, and that way I didn't need to actually like network per se. I didn't need to go through the event, but people sort of came to me. So unfortunately, this isn't the best answer. I don't have the best answer for that, except to say that I know plenty of consultants that love to go to a lot of these fundraising conferences and network. I can tell you this, and if you get that book that I flashed up there, with networking and going to conferences, have a plan. Figure out who's going to be there, introduce yourself to them perhaps online, letting them know that you want to find them and you would like to introduce yourself to them, and maybe even have a cup of coffee or something to drink while you're out there. Do that with 10, 15, 20 people, and I guarantee a percentage of them will say that they're interested in meeting with you, just even to be nice, and maybe they'll even bring friends. But I don't think it's necessarily what conference or what event you go to, but what is your strategy before, during, and after the event that's probably more important. Another question here from Jeff. Where is the line between giving great content away for free and giving too much away, such that they might already have what they need from you? That's a very good question. You want to give as much as you possibly can without giving away the whole store. So go as close and up to that line as you can, and you may even want to be a little bit of a tease, so to speak, for lack of a better word, in that you can give them half of it or 2/3 of it, and then in your post say, and if you want the rest of the story, reach out to me. Or if you want the rest of the story, you really should download my report. So I don't recommend you give away all of your expertise right then and there. Now, some situations, frankly, there's just no opportunity. It's going to be a very simple answer. Just give them the answer. But where you can, and this takes some practice and some thinking and some nuance and kind of looking at what other people are doing online, is to figure out where is that line where you can give them something but not quite enough so that they'll want to contact you. Okay, I hope that answered the question for you. All right, those are all the questions that are in there right now. So now I'm going to jump into the next stage, which is to talk about how MarketSmart can help you. And I'm going to show you a little bit about our software and different things like that. So it looks like almost everybody's still here. So that's terrific. Thank you for staying for this portion of the event. Okay, so I'm going to talk about in this, it's only going to be about 15, 20 minutes more, and thank you very much for all of your time. I'm going to talk about why consultants partner with us, what it is exactly that we really do here, because we're not entirely clear about it on our website, because we want to get people to convert and become leads for us. How do your clients benefit from this trifecta, if you will, this three-legged stool? And how do we all win together when there's a consultant, a nonprofit, and MarketSmart all involved together? So rehashing this little graphic that we talked about, and just a refresher, is that most nonprofits really need, whether they know it or not, they need major gift and planned gift lead generation. They need people teed up who are ready to talk. And that's really what MarketSmart does. We generate highly qualified leads. We're not a wealth screening company. We're not going to just provide data and say, yeah, here, go get them. No, we provide leads. We tee them up. We tee them up and we show you, look, this guy, Joe, is the guy you need to call today, and here's why. And it's very detailed, and I'll show you that in a minute. We also uncover hidden planned gifts, which it's really good to know about them before people die, because then you have a chance to steward them. They're less likely to leave their will, change their will, and they're less likely, or I should say more likely, to increase the size of their gifts. And finally, we help cultivate all the leads that we generate. So if you can't get to them at one time, our automated system does that for the nonprofit. So how this helps consultants is it helps them grow their practices. And I encourage you to go to that video with Phyllis, because when they wrap around our technology, it gives everybody something to sort of circle around and rally around and talk about and improve upon and coach on. It also gives consultants the opportunity to stay on the cutting edge, because I am a technologist. I'm constantly inventing, and the team that I have here is unbelievable, and they'll constantly be inventing. So you don't have to. You can do what you do best and let us just stay on the cutting edge, but we'll keep you informed so that you'll be 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of all the other consultants and all the other all of your clients, who are frankly too busy to be on the cutting edge. So that way you can be the cutting edge person for them. This we already talked about. It'll smooth out your lumpy contract work, and we can help you with that and cinch up these long-term projects. The consultants that work with us find that their clients stick with them because well, hardly anybody ever stops using our software. Okay. Now, so MarketSmart is a software company. We're also a technology-enabled service company, which basically means we provide productized, I hate to call them canned, but they're productized services that we know work. We have hundreds of clients now, so we're able to combine the results of all of them to provide you as a consultant with an amazing amount of research and understanding of what works for major gift and legacy gift marketing, both offline and online. We have the expertise in this multi-channel world because we've been pioneering it. We don't build like brochure websites. We're building engagement systems, and we're constantly testing what works and what doesn't. Okay. Now there is a danger for consultants when considering who to align themselves with, and this is especially dangerous. I have noticed we're a major gift and planned gift marketing company here at MarketSmart, but there are it's especially dangerous for consultants to align themselves with certain and not to name names, but well, I'm going to name names, but a lot of these folks have consultants on staff. So to refer them kind of could be like recommending your replacement, especially in the plan giving world. I don't think there are that many companies that are providing technology as best as I understand for major gifts, but in the planned gift world, there's a lot of them, and I'm biased here in telling you to be careful about aligning with them in that regard. And of course, it's very self-serving for me to tell you that in all transparency. But we never compete with any of our consultant partners. There's no reason to. We grow together. We help you leverage the technology that we invent. And the bottom line is that we get tons and tons of results. So we allow a consultant to be the orchestra conductor while we are sort of like the orchestra, and you can help us play the instruments better, faster, however you want them to be played, so that your client gets better results. Okay, so here's our world. We've got all this content, we've got these widgets and tools, and then we've got these services. So I'm going to kind of go through the bottom line of what that's like. First one that you might like, and I'm going to jump out of this, is what we call our fundraising report card, which is relatively new. And the fundraising report card is at fundraisingreportcard.com. And it's very simple, and you can use it with your clients for free. There is a paid version, but basically what you do is you drag and drop your data here, and I've already preloaded some data in here. And once you, it's really just three pieces of information. It's just the donor ID, the date of each donation, and the gift amount. That's all you ever need to pull. Those 3 pieces of information will give you hundreds of charts. So when you upload them, which I'm uploading now, it'll take just a couple seconds to calculate really everything that you need to have a great board meeting or to look at metrics and understand what's going on. So everything from number of donors and revenue, your average donation, your lifetime value, I mean, we've just got tons and tons of things here, even including your bequest potential, your retention rate, and so on and so forth. But these are the high level key performance indicators. And then throughout this charting, there's just hundreds of different ways for you to look at this. And as a for instance, you can change it so that you take out the under $100 donors, for instance, or you can add them back in. You can do it as a percentage. You can maybe, so for instance here, you can see that 33.4% of the revenue for this organization comes from just 26 people, which is 1% of the donors. So 33% of the revenue comes from 1% of the donors. So this will help you, work with your clients, and you can look at the change in growth. And I won't go through every chart. There's a demo online for free at fundraisingreportcard.com that has preloaded data, and you can click around and look at the acquisition, the lapsed, the churn rate, retention, things like that, upgrades, downgrades. It's all in there, and it's all for free. To get other charts, there are additional charts in there, and you're going to want to, well, if you want to pay for it, or if your client wants to pay for it, that will be a good idea and would benefit all of us. So it's fundraisingreportcard.com. Okay. Next thing is with regard to the other components of Market Smart's business. The key and the main thing that we do is we help nonprofits zero in on the people who are really ready to meet with a major gift or planned gift fundraiser now. Okay, we're not talking about just predicting who's likely to want to talk to you. We tee them up and make you more efficient, saving you money on marketing so that you're spending time with the right people. And even if they're not ready right now, our system will cultivate the relationships with them automatically using email marketing. So in the past, you used to look at just frequency and recency of giving and maybe some wealth and demographic screening, which is cool. But oftentimes you'll end up with too much data. You'll be overwhelmed by that data. And unfortunately, we hear that about 75% of those screenings go unused because they either sit on the shelf or you just can't get through all of the potential. And if you're able to reach out to people, you find that too many of them are really not ready to meet or give right now. So just because they're wealthy doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready. What you need and what your clients need to succeed is more actionable data right now. So you want to know who's ready to engage with you now. And the way we figure out whether it's actionable is we look at why they care. And we get people to tell us that information online and through print responses so that you can get a more robust profile of each major gift and planned gift prospect so that you can get those gifts more efficiently. Basically, what we're doing is the donor discovery call, and we act like a sieve so that the some of the sand's going to fall through, but the pretty shells are going to stay up at the top. We do that by capturing actionable intelligence. That intelligence is broken into two pieces, which I like to call verbatims, which are usually filled out in a donor survey, which is self-reported from the donor, or digital body language, which is tracked online, and email engagement. So the verbatims are usually done in a donor survey. People will tell you, they're actually starved to tell you about themselves. Most nonprofits don't do surveys, but by the time they finally do it, we find that the donors are just thrilled to be able to have a dialogue with their favorite charity. So the verbatim, giving them this opportunity is very important. But then our system, our technology places a cookie on their browser, and very much the way that Amazon or any other, you'll see ads that sort of follow you, and we don't really do much of that, but that's how they do it, is by putting a tracking cookie on your browser. So they identify who you are by name with their tracking cookie technology. And that's what we do, is we connect the dots of the donor's name and everything with their verbatims and their click history online to give you a better idea of who's interested right now. So this helps move people through this consideration process, which usually, unfortunately, the fundraiser is kind of stuck having to manage this whole funnel. And if that's not too much for them, then, well, they'll ask the marketing department to help them. And they're usually busy with annual fund and events and whatnot. And really, frankly, most of them don't know how to market major gifts or planned gifts. So they may rush the process with some kind of ask or kind of legalese type of newsletter, or something that's too pushy, and upset your donors. So what we recommend is that you and your clients put people through this funnel, figure out who is ready to engage, who's leaning in, who wants to engage, and where they are in the consideration process, so that we can get the fundraiser, your client, in the right place at the right time to really make the gifts happen. Okay, so at a high level, and then I'm going to show you how this all works in the background, but at a high level, we capture responses, meaning verbatims, with our donor survey platform, which is kind of like, well, it's much different than SurveyMonkey. It's like SurveyMonkey on massive steroids, I should say, and specifically developed for the fundraising space, especially for major gifts and planned gifts. Then our artificial intelligence, if you will think about what's happening, what are people saying, why do they care, and what's their level of consideration for a particular gift. Once our system digests that, it spins off automated drip emails that are pre-written and pre-programmed to be highly relevant and only go out to the people based on what they've told us. So now, think about this. It's a donor survey. People lean in. They tell us how they feel. They tell us what they think. We capture that information, and then we drip emails to them that are relevant based on what they said that they were interested in. It's really not all that complex. It's really simple. It's just the execution of it is kind of hard, except for the fact that we've done it hundreds of times. Now, major and planned gifts take a long time to happen. They're not like an annual fund gift of $50. So you need to have this drip marketing going on over and over and over. And as long as it's highly relevant and personalized, and we're not asking for money, very, very rarely do people actually opt out. It's a nice bonus with this kind of system. The more relevant you are, the more personalized it is, the more or the less you ask for money, the less likely they're going to opt out. And then they're going to click on things that you put in those emails, or we put in those emails for you, and that will drive them to pages online where we can where we can track their click history. So now I'm going to jump out of this and show you what that dashboard looks like on a demo site for a small college that in fact doesn't, well, we removed for our demo site their last names, the donors' last names. So what you can see here in our dashboard is, well, at a high level, you can see that we've got 108 people who leaned forward and already told us, our consultant friends, that's aligned with us, and our client especially, that there's 108 people who have already left a gift. Now, before we started our marketing, we did remove all the people who were already in their legacy society. So these are 108 new disclosures for a teeny tiny little college. Now, I know I went to the University of Maryland, and last I heard they only had 175 people in their legacy society, which it breaks my heart. I think that's pathetic. But this little teeny tiny college got 108 new legacy gift disclosures thanks to our survey and drip emails in about a year and a half. So I'd say that's pretty good. We also found 81 people who are considering this kind of gift, and hundreds that might consider it, and then tons that say they won't consider it, although we have found over time that these people, a percentage of them are actually kind of lying. They just don't want you to bother them. We also are finding, which people say that your organization is at the top of their charitable giving list. Now, going to the top of the dashboard, you can see that a lot of these are red, and that's because there's a lot of engagement with our pages that we develop for the client. So that red means these people are engaging recently. You can also notice that our system is determining, based on what people are saying and where they're clicking, whether they are a major gift or a planned giving prospect or both, and if they've left a legacy gift. So now that you have this kind of information, you want to perhaps decide, who should I call today? Should I call all the people who have left planned gifts? Should I call the people who have the top scores? Or the people who say that we are their top choice for charitable giving? So you can decide. I'm going to click on this guy, Patrick, because he's got major and planned giving. This is fairly random. I'm just going to click on him. He hasn't engaged in the past few weeks. He's got a high score, though. So let's see what's going on with this guy. Hope this isn't too fast for you. Okay, so he's kind of middle-aged guy, got a couple children, he's highly educated, that's good. Again, orange means that he hasn't engaged in the past few weeks. So let's look at his score impact, and we'll get a little dossier on him. I need to scroll down because it looks like he actually started engaging last May, so it's coming up on a year and a half. Must have filled out a survey. Our system gave him a decrement because he told us that he has 2 or more children, which, by the way, you can't buy that information. You can buy presence of children in the household, but let's suppose they're 70 or 80. I mean, they're not going to have children in the household, and that's not really an indicator that's important for legacy giving anyway. We want to find people who have no children whatsoever, and that's how you'll get some points in our algorithm. We also want to understand, what is their relationship to your mission, and is there a person, a human connection that inspired you or them to appreciate the organization's mission? And when there is, that's very important, and we know that that leads to more planned gifts. So we give them a plus there. If they rank this organization high, that's good. If they say that they're considering leaving a gift, and this looks like, this is more suited for planned giving, that's good. If they download information, that means they're leaning in further. They're spending time on the site, over 3 minutes. And then it looks like in 2016, he responded to the survey outreach again, because we do recommend that we do it yearly. But this time he even gave us more information, where he told us how he likes to donate. He talked about that, he'd like to refer the fundraiser to a friend. He ordered more information, still considering leaving a gift. Yep. So this is, and this is really good. So on the, he indicated that he's somewhat likely to talk to a gift officer, fundraiser. So this is a really good lead in my humble opinion. And we can also look at the click history, or, what's going on with emails that he has received from our automated system. And we can look at web activity to see what things he's been clicking on, and then take a deep dive perhaps to look at his responses to see if he left any even deeper. So he opted in to get some more emails. He talked about all the different ways. Oh, this is really cool. Okay, so this is why he showed up as a major gift prospect. Or maybe not. No, okay, so I see. He does not have a donor advised fund, but he's likely to give in these ways. Okay, so that's just a high level understanding of this particular donor, and I hope all that makes sense. I'm going to kind of go look for another one that's maybe the highest score out there, so I can show you some, who's really a great lead. And I guess I'll go with this one. That's another planned giving prospect. Let's see their score impact. Looks like it came in today, so who knows? They could still be online. Likely to talk to a gift officer, has a donor advised fund, likely to give appreciated assets, likely to give property. I mean, I think this is probably no wonder it's got a high lead score here, because this person is very happy to give away everything. So just a little bit more on the dashboard here is that then it can help you with donor visits. And there's a ton of data with this particular client, so it might take a minute for them um, uh, to plot all the locations. But you can zoom in and actually get street level using the Google algorithm, Google Maps, and you can actually zoom in on a person's home if you're going on a donor visit, or if you're creating an anchor call in one area, then you might want to, say, well, I'm going to be here. I may as well go there and right down the street. In fact, there are two prospects, which is really convenient. So I'm going to go over here and just and make my one call, and then I'm going to go make another right down the street. So with that, I'm going to take a pause, because I'm hoping that I'm showing you enough and giving you enough information without overloading you. And I also want to be considerate of your time. If you have any questions, please fill out the form and let me know if this isn't making sense of how we help entwine using our software, so that you can coach your clients and create campaigns, capital campaigns, whatnot, that will benefit them. Well, not a lot of questions, but one is coming up right now. Okay, so if I have a client, excuse me, who should consider MarketSmart, what's the next step you'd want me to suggest with them? A webinar, a sales call with MarketSmart, etc. Okay, so this is a great question. Thank you very much for this. We do not try to get in the way of your relationship with a client. So usually the first step is that you'll want to just talk to us without your client there, so that we can understand your needs and your game plan, so that we can help accentuate it, and again, treat you like the orchestra conductor. This is your show, this is your client. We just want to make you better and more successful. So I'd say first, you'll want to reach out to us and let us help you and create strategy of how we can work with you and enhance the relationship with that client. Then, if you feel comfortable, then we should probably arrange a little screen sharing type of call. Okay, another question is, oh, okay, someone's in the U of Maryland Founders Society. Well, we might want to have a chat. I can actually see the University of Maryland from my office, and I know those people well. They don't work with us, which is a shame, but they make tons and tons of mistakes on marketing, and it's a crying shame. I don't know what's wrong with them in their brains. Anyway, do I recommend, here's another question, do you recommend doing basic well screening first prior to your surveys, concurrent to them, or after? So as a consultant, we'll always answer the answer to that question is, Jeff, it depends. So if you have a client with a big list, a very big list, I was meeting with someone with 1.4 million people on their list. They got it well screened. It got down to like 300,000. That's a big list. So now they're thinking about doing a donor survey and using our system to help, like a sieve, whittle it down to the people who are really ready. And even at that number, we can't engage with all of them at once, or we'll overload their staff. So we're going to do it slowly and get these people into the funnel slowly. They did the well screening first. I might say that if you have such a huge list, you might actually want to do your survey based on recency and frequency of giving, or size of gift first, and then get people to engage and self-select their interest and their consideration process, if they have a family foundation, if they have a donor advised fund, things of that sort. And then just using the leads that we generate, then you can get those leads well screened. So there's two ways that you can come at it, and you can do it concurrently. I have investigated actually plugging, or I should say syncing, wealth data with our lead generation, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that yet. If a lot of clients keep asking for it, I will do it. It's not all that hard to do, but as we do have relationships with a lot of wealth screening folks, and I don't want to upset them. So I hope that made sense, but you can go either way. It depends. It's just that most people seem to get the wealth screening done first, and we're happy to take that list and use it. Now, if you have a small list, and the list, let's suppose it's only, say, 4,000 people, I don't know if the organization will have the budget for wealth screening. You might want to just run the whole list, so to speak, through the donor survey and get them through the platform and let people self identify their interests and their giving propensity. So we can do it either way. I can't tell you that there's a hard, fast rule to the answer to that question. Okay, looks like more questions are coming in here, perhaps, unless these are old ones. Yep. So it looks like we're about to wrap up. I hope if another question comes in, I'll answer it, but we're almost at the half-hour mark on this part of the presentation, and I hate to keep you all too much longer. If you found any of this at all interesting and you want to engage with us on a more one-to-one way, just chat, take a deeper dive into the fundraising report card or our services and products and survey campaigns and other types of initiatives that we do for clients, please just reach out to us, reach out to me, click on our website. There's all kinds of ways that you can reach us and reach me, and we'd be happy to help you, listen to your critiques. And last thing is, I just want to mention there is going to be a quick survey after this presentation. So if you will, please fill out the survey and let me know if you got value out of this. I want to make sure that I'm not, well, most of you are still online, so clearly I'm not wasting your time, but I do want to improve this and only make it better. So with that, no more questions. I want to thank you for your attendance today, and I hope that someday we can help you help your clients be even more awesome. So thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure, and all my best to you. Good luck.